Yeah, so today we are going to talk about a question that is called as tell me about your roles and responsibilities. So this is basically for more experienced people, or if you are going to add experience in your resume, that's when like you need to answer this call, right? For example, um, if they're asking about what have you done in your last two projects, or what was your role and responsibility in your last project. So if they ask that question, what are you going to say? So basically, you need to say when they ask about what was your current role and what was your core responsibility as a BA in that project. So there are a couple of things you need to say. First of all, as a BA, what are your primary responsibilities? And for example, what a BA will do usually, like they will gather requirements. And so when it comes to lead BA, what they will do is usually lead BAs will, especially in on-site and all, if you are in the US, expectation is you have to do everything. Like you need to, from like funding perspective, you have to like coordinate with other teams, with your project manager. So I'll say like what I do in my project so that you'll have an idea what a lead BA will do. So for in my project, right, usually the manager will tell me like, Pradeepa, we have a new project. So, and these are the stakeholders' names, and you please proceed. That's all. Okay. So I'll get only two instructions. I'll have a stakeholder name, and what is the project about? Like on a high level, what is that project about? Okay. So that intake, right, can be done through Jira. So usually the business owners submit a new request, intake request through our team's Jira link, intake link, and they will tell like what is the market, what kind of um, enhancement that we are going to do, or if it's going to be a brand new project, whatever it is. So it's going to be one user story that they are going to submit, and I will take that as a base. Then I'm going to have a couple of stakeholders names. Now what will I do then? What I will do is, like I said, before even scheduling calls, I will identify other stakeholders. So I will ping the primary stakeholder. I will ask them, do you have other stakeholders? Who are the SMEs? I will try to get the contacts. Then as much as possible, I will see whether we have something like an existing project like this, similar to whatever is this, right? The new project. Do you have anything like that prior to, uh, we have done like this in prayer, right? And last few years, whether we have done any kind of enhancement like this, or whether anything like similar functionality, whether we have already done our team, right? We have already done something like that. Then I have to go through that document and then have a high level idea on this is what we have done previously. So what are the capabilities from our team? Okay. Once I have that idea, now the very first elicitation call when I schedule, it's going to be mostly like somewhere between 30 minutes to 1 hour call. Okay, let's say 30 minutes to 1 hour, because I don't have I don't have too many questions to ask, right? So usually it's a 30-minute call, or if I feel I am inviting like too many people, it's going to be a 1 hour call. So what do I do then? I invite them, and invite them, and then once they come to the call, do not directly jump to requirement gathering questions. Okay, so first thing is like you have to showcase yourself like as a very friendly person. Okay, and then you are a thorough professional, and so you can talk about weather, you can talk about what's happening in their time zone, if something like concerts, something very generic topics. Okay, maybe first 1 or 2 minutes, then make sure they're all like comfortable, okay, to talk to you. And so after a couple of minutes, you're going to ask them the very first question. What I ask is like, is this project funded? Okay, because if you are in on site, usually project manager, they also deal with funding, but usually the lead BA. Okay, so they are the ones who will be like talking about funding and everything. Okay, so you're going to ask about, is this funded? When is the go live date? What is the expectation? And And can you tell me about what is the as is and to be process? Okay, so as is and this is to be process. That's the first question you are going to like tell, and allow them to speak. Okay, so you're going to allow them to speak, because usually they will be talking about operations, what's happening. So at least give them like 10 to 12 minutes for them to talk, and then don't interrupt. That's the thing. So rules in elicitation sessions is like, do not interrupt. Okay, don't interrupt. And then don't be in a hurry. Don't give an idea that you cut the conversations or you interrupt a lot. Don't give them that idea. You have to be very calm and composed, and allow them to talk for like 10 to 12 minutes. Once they complete, like, because you have so many stakeholders, right? So everybody's going to tell their some points. So you record the session. That's one thing. You record the session, and then you have your OneNote at the side. Okay, OneNote is something you can take notes on. So OneNote is usually I take notes. So you can simultaneously you can take notes or you can record. If you feel like you cannot take notes, whatever they're saying, you can record the session and you can review it later. So, and then you are trying to understand like what is the expectation, what is the business need. Okay, why they are spending like $1 million on this project, what is the business need. So okay, identifying business need. Okay, identifying business need. So you are understanding, like, for example, let's say Cigna. I gave you an example of Cigna yesterday. Cigna right now, current world, they don't have a chatbot option. Okay, so now what happens is there is huge volume to customer care, and people are calling like to check their claim status, to check their authorization status. They are calling for even for small things. They are calling to the customer care, and they get extremely frustrated because like it takes about 30 minutes for them to get their live agent. And so it is like it's not a very user friendly experience, right? So they want to cut all of that. Now they want something like an app application called Elsa, which that Elsa application can answer most of the members' question. For example, claim status, authorization status, or appeal status, or like benefit plans. What is the current benefit plan? Most or in network, out of network providers. Around your zip code, who are the in network providers? Who are the out of network providers? So it can, all these questions can be answered by Elsa. Okay. So what is the business need? Why does business wants to develop that AI chatbot? Because they want to cut down on customer care. They are spending so much on customer care, like hiring too many people, giving them so much training, and then they have like a separate floor, like 5 to 6 floors of people, like taking calls from 9 to 5 time zone. And then so it's like a lot of people who are working on that particular customer care division, and it's not worthy because the competitors like Aetna or United Health or different like Optum, there are so many like competitors who are like upgrading their like customer service to like all these chatbot options, right? So now business wants to upgrade their system too, to make sure like in like 5 to 6 in years, they want members to be very familiar with this AI chatbot option. And then they want members to, instead of like members to call the live agent, they want members to just use the chat option. Okay, that's the business need. So we identify the business need. Now you don't know what is AI because everybody is new to AI, right? So you yourself don't know. As a BA, you yourself don't know for this functionality whether my developers can do this. Do we have that capability? And like what kind of resources we need? How long it's going to need? You don't know that. So, but you're not going to tell that to the B. What you're going to tell to the B, I mean, you're not going to tell that to the business owner. What you're going to tell them is, okay, I understand that you told me the high level requirements. I totally understand it. Now I have to work with my Scrum team, and I will come up with the timelines, how many sprints it's going to take, what is the budgeting, how much funding is required from my team, and whether we have dependency on other teams. Let's say, usually, right, when I go to the elicitation calls, I find out that we are not the only team who can do this. We have dependency on a couple of teams, but the business owner will not know it. So they come to us We are one IT team where they come to us. But usually, like, we are also dependent on backend systems or downstream systems or upstream systems. We never know. So, for example, in this chatbot option, that project, okay, I can create a live this chatbot. If I'm a member portal, let's say I'm from member portal team, I can create that option. But in order for me to answer about the claim status, I have to like go and check the claims name or their system and then pull that data for the member, right? Using that member ID. So, for example, you are a member. You're coming to the portal and you're typing the member ID, and I'm member portal team. My chatbot application, right? It's taking the member ID, and it has to go to the backend to a different system. Okay, let's say it has to go to a membership system. It has to go to the enrollment system, or it has to go to the claim system, or it has to go to the authorization system. So in backend, our member portal application, that chatbot, right, that application has to interact to different systems, and then from there it has to pull the data and then tell it to the member, right? So now you have dependency on multiple teams in the backend. If AI chatbot has to answer all the questions about claims, authorizations, about benefit and enrollment and whatever, then about documents, uploading documents, then what? Then at the back end, my system has to interact with like 4 to 5 different teams, which the business owner have no idea. They have no idea. Okay, they come to you, they'll think like your team can do everything. But you as a technical BA, you have to know this. And if you don't know, you have to take a help of a developer and an architect who can help you if you're not technical enough, and if you feel like you don't know while during solutioning, like you don't know in backend systems how they interact or what kind of feeding is required, what kind of API integration is required, you don't know that. Then what do you do for the upcoming calls? You always like bring your developer, some lead engineer, architect who has like some idea of how backend systems interact with your application. You have to bring them to your call. Otherwise, you will become embarrassed before business owners on. Like if they ask, can you do it? You will not know how many sprints it's going to take, what's the level of funding this is going to, like what is the level of effort. You will have no clue. So once you identify a high level business need, now you have to like analyze and figure it out. Okay, I don't think in the upcoming elicitation calls I can handle it alone. And also we are dependent on like multiple downstream systems or backend systems. So now what you're going to tell to the business owners is, okay, I will schedule the calls going forward, but uh, if there are like multiple teams involved in this, the scope is actually that you have an extensive scope here. So it's not only possible only with my team. There are like 4 to 5 different teams that needs to be involved. So when there are usually like 4 to 5 different teams that needs to be involved, then usually there will be a technical project manager who's coming into like, who's like, so this technical project manager is someone who is responsible for scheduling all the calls. And your work is like, you will join the calls, you will gather requirements for your team alone. Okay, so when there are like, once they figure out this is not, you are not the only team that is required, and in backend there are like 4 to 5 different teams that is required, then what you do is you tell to the business owner saying that I think the scope is not only to our team, you have like different teams. I cannot lead this project, like I can lead only for my team, right? But if there are like different teams involved, of course every team is going to have their own BAs. But in order to completely coordinate all the 4 to 5 different teams and then go live activities, and then if there are any defects, any blockers for someone to address and escalate and everything, we need a technical project manager. That you have to tell to them. This is what I will tell. If I figure out this is not only with our team and I have like 4 to 5 different teams dependency, then I will inform the business owner, like saying like, I think this is a massive project, and then you have to have a technical project manager. So once you tell them, they will find out someone. Okay, they will find out someone, they'll hire someone, like it's their problem. They will bring a technical project manager, and that person will be responsible for all this, like to coordinate like 4 to 5 different teams. Of course you can schedule your elicitation calls, okay, your team's elicitation calls. But if you want to talk to other teams engineers, or if they want to gather require from your team, or all the 4 to 5 different teams needs to be in one call, on for this, all this, like when are we going to go live and status of all the development and everything. Then like this person, right, technical project manager, he'll be the one scheduling every day's like status calls and all for this particular project. So I'm talking about these are like massive projects, very big, very, very big projects that you're doing from scratch, like this, I told you, right? AI projects, right? Because we have no prior to this, we don't have anything like with AI. So this is like something like from scratch you're going to do. So what you do is like you inform the business owners, then you come and tell your manager. So you have your manager, right? You come and tell them that on high level, this is what they want. I got an idea, but how can so we can on so there is something called as t-shirt size funding, okay, which you can give. What is t-shirt size funding? Means um, means on a very, very high level, you're going to say this is going to take 100K, 200K, 300K for your team. It's not like exact funding that you're going to tell to the business owners. T-shirt size means like generically you're thinking that okay, this project for this AI chatbot, it is going to take like at least like 4 to 5 months. So since it is agile methodology, every sprint is going to be 2 weeks. So if it's 2 weeks means imagine like 4 to 5 months, how many sprints? So that you're going to calculate. Then you're going to calculate on how many developers you want for this project. How many testers do you want? If you don't have testers means, then of course your billing, BA's billing, Scrum Master billing, and then product owner billing. So because they all will come under your umbrella, they don't have a separate project. So whatever project you're working, right, you need to make sure they're also covered. So let's say developers, you need 3 developers. And then BAs, you are the lead BA, but you need another BA also to cover up whenever you are on PTOs or for testing purposes, for coordination. So let's say you need 2 BAs. One is like you and then a junior BA. Then like we have one Scrum Master, one product owner. Okay. Now I have like how many resources? 3, 5, 6, 7. Totally 7 people working on this project. And every hour, how much they needs to be charged. So you may have a monthly salary. Okay. That's not a problem here. Usually project managers, how they do billing, like for usually how they calculate is per hour rate into number of hours. Okay, let's say like for every hour, usually here we charge about $120. Okay, for one person, 1 hour it's $120. So in that case, like how many hours? If it is 7 people, and then how many months it's going to take? It's going to take at least 4 to 5 months. Okay, so how many hours every week? It's like 40 hours. So, or you can do like 40 hours, or you can talk about story points calculation. So we can do it like how many story points it's going to take for this particular project. Let's say developer is saying like for development, it's going to, so we have a table. So you need to understand this, like we have a table to calculate. So for example, so how do we do LOE estimation? This is a very, if you're going for like lead level BAs, right? This is a question they're going to ask you. So, okay, let me, okay, so let me put it like this way. Developer, for development, for unit testing, okay, unit testing, then he has to do SID testing coordination, then he has to do UAT testing coordination, then implementation activities, right? Then post implementation activities. Okay. So how many story points? Let's say for development, he's guessing, okay, because right now at this point you don't have all the requirements. He's giving, we are just estimating on a very, very high level. Let's say like for development, 20 story points, unit testing, 3 story points, SID testing, 5 story points, UAT testing, like 5 story points, implementation, 2 story points, post implementation. We have 1 month warranty usually. That's like 5 story points. Totally how many story points? 20, 30, 35, and then 40. So totally developer points is 40. Same way for analyst, we need to give story points. So for analyst, what we do? So this is for developer. Same way for analyst, for BAs, right? We give story points like, so we don't do development. So development is 0 for us. Instead of that, you're going to give us planning, project planning. Then you're going to talk about requirements gathering. And then, okay, and then you're going to talk about, you're not going to do development and unit testing. So you're not going to give points for that. SIT, of course, there is no tester in your team. You'll be doing system integration testing, UAT coordination, UAT test creation, test cases creation. For that, yes, you will be there. Then implementation, of course, deployment. That for that you'll be there, and for post implementation. So after a month we go live. For the warranty period, you need to coordinate, right? Until then, you will be coordinating. After a month, production support team will take over. Okay. So planning, yes. For planning means all the project planning activities, for scheduling the elicitation calls, you like pinging them, you're sending emails, for you writing like you're doing all this coordination between your team, scrum team, business owners, all that will be coming under planning. And this is a massive project, right? So 4 to 5 months, imagine number of hours. So one story point is 8 hours. If I put like one story point, it's 8 hours. So how many hours is going to take? I'm just guessing, maybe let's do 20. Okay, so 20 hours. Requirement gathering, yes. It's going to take at least 13 story points. It's not hours, it's 13 story points. SIT, yes, 8 or 5. UAT, of course, 5. Implementation is 2. Post implementation is maybe 3. That's all. Okay, so overall BA hours is 20, 30, 40, 53. Okay, yes, 53. So usually analyst hours are more than the developer hours, because we are also we'll be the one initially scheduling all the calls, right? So our hours are always more usually. So now 40 story points into whatever is the hour. So I told you like one story point is 8 hours, right? So 40 into 8, 40 multiplied by 8 into 8, and then into 8. Then you are going to talk about 1 hour. How many dollars? $120. That's how you calculate. So what is the if they ask you in 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 the interview, how do you do funding and all that, you're going to say that story points. Okay, story points, number 1, you will estimate the story points, then number of work hours, then for every hour how much they are going to charge. So with that, right, you're going to estimate on a high level. For developer, let's say like it's going to cost around 100K, $100,000. And then for you,
Sorry for interrupting, Tadipa. Like in India, how do we do this? Like in US, maybe we do in dollars. In India, how do we do this?
so usually you're going to have your team leader, right, or project manager. He will do it for you.
Okay. Okay.
So he will. So in India, you have the team manager, that concept, right? So
Yeah, yeah. Manager will only take care of the billing.
yeah. So what he will do is he will like he knows like how many people will come under this project. So he's going to estimate per hour how much. He knows your salary, right? So apart from that, so he will always bill like 30-40% extra from your salary, because he has to showcase the profit also. So what is his core job as a manager? He will bill on site, and then make sure your salary is taken from that project, and remaining he will showcase as if that is a profit that is coming from your team. That is his core responsibility, right, as a project manager. So the billing rate for you won't be 120. It will be somewhere around like $50 or $60 for offshore. And then from that, right? So if it is $60, what is per hour you're getting? Like, let's say 90 rupees. What is per hour charge for you then? 90 rupees. If it's $1 is 90 rupees. 9 6 are
540. Okay.
yes. 5,400 rupees every hour.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
getting billed 5,400. That's how they use the billing rate. So every hour, client is giving you 5,400 rupees, which is a good thing, because see, you have to understand, it's not only your salary, the building cost, your transportation, food cost. There is a lot of cost involved, insurance and extra and all that. So all that is there. So and then they need to have a buffer for you in case, because this project is not that sure shot it's going to end in like 4 to 5 months. It can be extended like 6 to 7 months. We know additional billing also may be required, but this is how it is. If you are on site, usually per hour it's somewhere between 100 to $120 depending upon the client. But if it's offshore, usually somewhere around $60 to $50, not below than that. I don't think offshore people are charging below like $50. Okay, so 1 hour somewhere between 5,400 rupees to 4,500 rupees. That's where your billing will be. And then so your project manager will do everything for you. So he needs to understand like how many people will be there for this particular project, how long it's going to take, and then how many hours that those people will work. And once that amount is gone, the remaining he will showcase as profit from your team. So your project is a profitable project, your team is a profitable one. If he's showing profit, then there'll be no layoffs usually. But if you think like constantly your team is not at all a profitable team, then that's where like they figure out, okay, there is no use having this team, and then there is all these layoffs and all happening, right? So you need to understand that's the like a core responsibility for a project manager in India is he will do all this funding for you. But in US, it's mostly the lead BA. So we do that funding, and then funding calculation and everything, and we will give to our manager for approval. Manager will definitely add at least 30% more than whatever it is. So let's say like for developers it is $100,000, for BA it is $150,000, and additionally he can add a 30% more for extra buffer. And then overall they give that t-shirt size funding to their business owners. And like this, like business owners will get like this kind of funding request like from 4 to 5 different teams. That's why I said when we say 1 million project, each team itself is like will be asking for 250 or 300K something, and then it will reach $1 million. And they're fine, they already have funding, right? So they will usually like approve. Usually they will approve. They know this is a very big project, a massive project, so usually they will approve. So if they ask you about, tell me about yourself, what role that you have done and what is the responsibility that you have done in your last project. If you're going like for more than 8 plus years in your resume, 8 plus, 10 plus, especially if you're on site in the US, then the expectation is like not only the basic BA responsibilities. Don't think like I was responsible only for gathering requirements. That's not the expectation. They want you to have a capability of a project manager. Means you're not, you know everything end to end. You know how to schedule calls, you know how to do budgeting, you know how many resources will be needed, you know how to like identify how many sprints will be required, and when is the goal live. Accordingly you will do the all this project planning and everything. Only then you're making like your managers work very easy. Imagine if you are telling all with all this detail in an interview. If you say that I was responsible for funding, I was responsible for all this project planning, and I was responsible for gathering requirements, then they, like sure shot, I'm telling like they'll be very impressed, because not everyone in the market knows about funding, budgeting, and project planning tools, because it makes the project manager life easier, right? They have multiple projects, so they have a massive team. Under a manager, you have like 50 on-site resources, another 50 offshore resources. 100 people are like reporting to the manager. They want a real like lead BA to take care of all these multiple projects, like everything like from scratch, everything that a BA can do. we has the capability to lead a project from scratch. Not only this, so what you are doing is, once you give this, definitely manager has to approve. You don't have anything, like you cannot approve or anything, you are just submitting. You're just telling this, like, for example, for developer, these are the hours it's going to take. Of course, these hours and story points should be given by the developer only. You cannot give the story points for him, because these are technical things, right? So you cannot give the story points for him. So you will get this from the developer. Your job is, you're going to get the story points from the developer. For you, you know how many hours it's going to take, so you're going to add that, and you will coordinate with your scrum master and product owner. Of course, your scrum master and product owner will also be involved. Okay, when we are calculating all these things, you're not doing alone. Your scrum master is there, your product owner is there, they will also be there. But they cannot understand technically, because you are the one gathering requirements. They don't know how long it's going to take, how many user stories it's going to take, how many epics it's going to take on a feature level, how many feature we are going to do, how many teams there are dependency, and then how long it's going to take for UAT testing. They have no clue. You will be the one who will be like telling them, this is a massive project, it is going to take multiple sprints, 4 to 5 months, dependency on 4 to 5 teams. So that input, right, you have to give to your scrum master and product owner, and make their life also easier. So, but once the final funding, that t-shirt size funding, that you are able to estimate it, then it goes for manager approval. Once it is approved, only then you are going to give it to your business owner, and you make sure that is getting approved in the next 2 to 3 days. Okay, whatever funding request that you are giving to the business owner, that needs to be approved. That is your primary responsibility as a lead BA. Once approved, only you are going to schedule the further calls. Okay, because without approval, you are wasting everybody's time and money here, right? Because your developers have other projects, they have like their current sprint stories and everything. So very first call, you identify all this, then you estimate your LOE is level of effort. Okay, you estimate that, then with you submit that money amount, whatever it is. Once you get approval from your manager, you submit that to your primary stakeholder. That LOE needs to be approved first for you to schedule the other calls going forward. Because if they are like delaying, or they're saying, why do you want so much, we don't have funding, then you drop that. You're not if they say that this is taking too much, we cannot afford this, our leadership doesn't have so much money, then you reduce the scope, or you drop the project itself. And it has happened multiple times with me. It has happened multiple times. Like, for example, we are estimating like 250K, and project owner is saying like, business owner is saying like, no, 250K, that's too much, we cannot do it. So either you reduce the scope of it, because whatever scope that you're going to give me requires this much level of effort. Either you reduce the scope, or you have to like, if they don't have funding, then accordingly we have to change it. However, so what I do is, for the next call, if they are not approving, then I email them saying like, do you want me to schedule a next call, you want to discuss everything in detail, why this is taking so many hours and everything. Then sometimes business owners are like, yes, can you please schedule a call and explain to me. So that I have to explain to them why this is taking so many hours, so what are the different kind of technical difficulties we are having, and then why this cannot be done in a much larger budget. Or if they're going to take away few scopes, let's say chatbot, for now phase one, only claims questions it can answer. Yes, we can do on a low budget, because now we are dropping other teams dependency. So we are dropping prior authorization, we are dropping appeals, we are dropping enrollment. Only claims questions that chatbot will answer, that is phase one, totally fine. We can reduce all the story points, and we can give you a much lesser budget. But that dealing and everything, like, you have to talk. That's why you have to be very polite with them in those conversations. Don't trigger them. They have no clue about IT and how much hard work it takes to finish a software development project, right? So they may be getting easily triggered. They are like, why are you asking like so much? Why are you billing like for your project manager? Why are you billing for your scrum master? Why are you billing for your product owner? They can ask you so many questions. But as a scrum team, you have to explain, this is how IT projects work. If one projects come, I cannot only bill for my hours and exact hours. Like, for example, how long it takes to write a BRD in 2 hours. Is 2 hours enough? What about the times that you're pinging me about that BRD and following up, and then emails, and then who is going to cover for that time? What about deployment activities? What about like night from 9 to 5 I'm doing deployment? Who's going to cover up for me? Who's going to charge me for those hours? Or if there is like post deployment activity, Saturday and Sunday, someone, there is a production defects, someone like my developers are fixing it, who is going to charge them for that hours? So business owners don't have no they have no clue about how IT projects work. Developers, they work all day, they work on weekends, they work on like Saturdays and Sundays. If there is any production issue, they have to log in anytime. Okay, so we have to like, when we are estimating budget, right, we have to understand like that buffer, like that 30% buffer, extra buffer that we are adding, it includes all these work hours. Okay, whenever the developer is like what, so we are not, see, in IT, right, like BPO, we are not giving like that extra money to them, but that extra money will be there in our project when there is like when people are going for bench, right? Like when who's going to cover when like 10 people are going on bench? So if we need that extra 30% money, if there are no other projects available, then how is your salary is going to pay it? And how are we going to retain people? If we cannot retain people, then there will be layoffs, right? You have to understand the concepts. So you should never feel shy about charging high when you are as a lead BA, because I have to take care of my developer. I cannot lose him. He has enough knowledge. And as a team, we should be very like understanding of business owners can ask you so many questions on why we are charging so much, what is the business need, and then why I don't think this needs this much amount of money, my leadership won't approve and all. So that's where this lead BA skills will come, right? So you have to convince them, saying like, don't think these are exact work hours, exact story points. Developer has to do more than that. And so we are, that 30% buffer is usually for that. If we are going to finish everything on time, there are no defects, everything is going very well, then we are not going to use that extra money, right? It's going to come back to you, to your team, as like to the business owner itself. Like, so that kind of convincing and all you have to do. Once
Uh,
approved, only you're going to start the next call.
Pradeepa,
Yes.
I have a doubt. Like, if it is internal project, like, if for example, if it is Bank of America, so if it is an internal project and if you are giving more budget, and what like if the amount is remained, like it is not for team, right? It's for company only, right? So the remaining amount will go to the company, or again to the team for next project. They will use.
Yeah. So in USA, right, it
Yeah.
if unused will go to the business owner only.
Okay.
It will go. But see, but the project manager can showcase that is like savings.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, that is savings only,
Yeah.
because it is internal to internal. So your
Yeah.
project manager will showcase like you saved around like $35,000 and you give back to your leadership.
Okay.
That's how, like, it will come under your project manager's
Yeah, so the
achievements only.
administration
Yeah,
project
their
manager.
achievement. Yeah, their achievements only it will come. So one of the
Okay.
primary uh, role for a project manager is to showcase savings, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And story points and how to get approval from business owners. Because if you are adding 8 plus 6 plus 7 plus in your resume, expectation is like you have involved in all this. That's what, let's say, interviewer will be very happy if you explain all this. He'll be like, okay, I want you right away, because you are always reducing the work of a project manager.
Pradeepa, I have a doubt.
Yes, Rohit.
Uh, I have all the theoretical knowledge, so I just wanted to know from you, like, when everything, like, starting from the budgeting and all, and allocation of the story points, and is being taken for business analyst, what would be the role of a project manager here, and how he would be supporting the business analyst or the lead business analyst?
See, project manager, right? They have like, so usually in US, I'll tell you,
Yes.
they have offshore team and on-site team. Okay.
Okay.
Under in on-site team, let's say at least 25 people will be reporting to them.
Okay.
Okay, 25 people.
Mm-hmm.
And they are going to have like, they will own at least 2 to 3 different applications.
Okay. Okay.
So, and then, so for every application, at least like 10 people are okay. I'm just saying this is minimum. Minimum 10 people, every application will be owned. And
Mm-hmm.
if I'm the manager, I own 3 applications, 30 people on site. And I'm going to have an offshore team too. Offshore team is usually like on a larger member, like 50 people in offshore.
Okay.
So as a project manager, what my core responsibility is, timesheet approval. Okay, because that's the primary thing. Everybody's timesheet has to be approved on time. Okay,
Right.
and then how many projects are going on currently?
Mhm.
If it's a 2 week sprint, means this Friday which project is going live. And I
Okay.
have 3 different teams, means every team is going to have like how many user stories are going live, how many projects are going live. And usually in my case, in my company and all, every team at least 2 to 3 projects will do at the same time.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
every team, in the sense 3 teams, like nine different projects are going simultaneously.
Right.
Okay, so if like at least 10 projects are going live, then you need like new projects are coming. Then like, so the lead BA, if the lead BA is able to give that high level LOE, that then usually the project manager's job is to review everything and then approve it. That's all. But what the project manager on a day to day, what a project manager is doing is, first thing is I have about like 50 to 60 people reporting to me. Okay. So 50 to
Oh,
60 people are reporting. Then their timesheet needs to be approved. Then how many projects are going live? And in production, are there any incidents? Are there any escalations that's going on? Whatever code change that was already done and went live, was there any production incident? Is there any SWAT call currently going? They have to join the SWAT calls.
okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, they will join the SWAT calls. It's mostly escalations that they'll be dealing with.
Okay.
In production, if there is an escalation, it will come to them, right? So they will
Right.
constantly deal about escalations. And then if anybody anybody is going on PTO, who's going to cover? If there are any contractors leaving, then how are we going to replace that resource? And in offshore billing also, so mostly they'll focus on billing perspective, how to retain those 50 people for the next 6 months. And then
Okay.
whatever projects that are going live, is that okay? And then, for example, whatever went live, if there are any production, because escalations, whatever, if those 50 people, if someone is not working well, that escalation, that business owner is going to escalate to our manager only, right? So they have to like, they'll mostly focus on escalations only.
Okay.
And
I got it.
they will also have too many calls with their leadership and all, like how to, like, if for right now my manager is stuck with all this AI training for hours.
Okay.
Like for 2 weeks they are in some kind of training, and then
Yeah.
so they have their own kind of training, leadership training, and then who needs to be fired, they have their own headache actually.
Okay. Got it, Pradipal. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
but so if imagine like project manager has to be involved in calculation of all this,
Right.
then I don't think it's like, then why there is a product owner and scrum master there in our team?
I got it, Pradipal. Yeah.
Yeah. And they
Uh,
are,
But all these things, like yeah, like what you said, the story points calculation and how much time we need to allocate for the developer and the respective team members, it all actually comes from a real time experience, right?
yes,
It's not
yes,
like
yes, it's not
understand.
theoretical, like only someone who's
Yeah.
already worked like this can explain to you.
Right. Right. So once we get inside, maybe easy to like, can we get that kind of a like what do you call experience and all, maybe in 6 months to 1 year at least? Or
I
I just
mean,
want to know from like
are you in
how.
India or are you in the
No,
US?
I'm in US. I'm in Michigan currently.
Okay, okay.
So yeah.
So yeah, so it depends. If you are showcasing, see, that's like when you get inside. For me also, initially, like initially, when I became a BA, right, nobody's going to give you responsibilities. Come on, Pradeep, you're going to lead a team and all. Nobody's going to tell that. So you have
Right.
to like constantly prove to your manager that you are capable of becoming a lead BA. You are
Got it. Yeah.
capable of like leading a project. So
Mhm.
number one is like, there is like, the first thing I take care is like I join calls on the right time. I don't even delay even like 1 minute. Any call,
Right.
right? Like I will join on time, and I will inform the business owners, and then what kind of questions I'm going to ask, and then how they need to be prepared. I send them email, follow-up reminders, everything, like this is what will be asked, like please prepare, please bring the appropriate SMEs. That's number one thing. Whenever you schedule calls, you will be the first, you need to join on time. That's one thing. Next thing
Right.
is like, no matter what, your go live day is not delayed. Okay,
Right.
4 months to 5 months, okay, that's fine. You can like you can do your development testing, whatever defect fix, everything needs to be happening on time. And whenever there is a target date that's fixed, if something wants to go live on June 1st, it will
Right.
go. And I have made sure, like constantly prove to my manager, if I fix
Right.
a date, it will never be delayed.
Mhm. Mhm.
So where there are like five BAs in your team, and you're very self-driven, very ambitious. Whatever work is given to you, you're doing it on time, because time is something like not many people, they don't, especially when my Indian community, like nobody takes time seriously. Everybody joins call very late, or they ping, and then they're so much used
But
to
here in
delay.
USA, yeah, they give like they are very what is a punctual with respect to timings and meetings.
Right. And if you showcase that ability, right? If
Right.
you make if you feel, if your project manager thinks that you're very punctual, you take time seriously, and then you're not wasting anybody's time, and you're not delaying the go live date,
Right.
then like that's when like I figured my manager, right? When I joined as a mid-level BA and all, when I
Right.
want to become a lead BA, I was like constantly trying. Like then when I figured out, when I was like telling to my manager, okay, give me like one project, I'll make sure that not even a single deadline is missed. And then she gave me one massive project. She gave me, that was a very complicated project. I have to deal with offshore Mexican team, and then I have to uh, and then in onshore also there are like 4 to 5 different teams. That's my first project that I led as a BA, a lead BA. It was a
Okay.
massive project, and made sure like everybody went on that same date, not only my
Mhm.
team. Offshore
Mhm.
team also went on that same day. Mexican team, they also went on the same day. I was monitoring entire Saturday. I was monitoring. Was anybody had any blockers or anything? So that's when she got impressed, and she was like, you know what, you're going to lead going forward, because she's always keep saying like you're very punctual. In one-on-one meetings, she's always keep saying like you're very punctual. I've never seen anyone so punctual like this, or who takes deadlines very seriously, right? So after you build that trust,
Right.
then like they are like, okay, if I give something like to her, she'll make sure that goes on time. So that trust building process, right, will take, it won't take, it will take a few years, and
Right.
you have to develop that rapport with your manager.
Yeah.
So that take, I don't think it is going to come in 1 year, especially in the US.
Right.
First, so you have to start slowly. You have to take baby steps. First, whatever user stories they are assigning to you, make sure you do it on time. Then, like whatever work task they're going to give you, you make it on time. Do not miss a meeting. And then, if you're going on PTO, please inform prior. If you want to take any kind of like, you're going for doctor appointment, tell in prior. And so you maintain that discipline in the team, and then you showcase that you're a thorough professional, and then you slowly build that trust with your team and your manager, and then get a very good name, like for example, yeah, she's very professional, she's not going to gossip, she's not going to waste time, she's a thorough professional. That's the name you're going to get. Once you get that name, what I figured out is, they don't worry what kind of background you have, whether you're a South Indian or a North Indian. They are not worried about all that. They just worry about, okay, she's a thorough professional, she can do projects, I'm going to assign to her. So that's the name you're going to like, that you need to target for such kind of name. Punctuality, time management, and then don't miss any deadlines.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
Okay,
you for
Pradeep.
sharing this. Thank you. Yeah, it was very helpful. Yeah.
you're welcome.
Yeah, Pradeepa. Pradeepa, like as a BA, so you said like as you are a lead BA and you have 5 BAs under you.
Hmm.
So how many team of developers do you have? Like if the requirement is suitable or not? Like if I have in my company earlier where I worked, I have only 2 teams where like one team can develop Unity games and one team can develop other C# games and all. So like how if the team capabilities is not whatever the project manager they gave the project to you, assigned a project to you, so if your team don't have that skill set, like how are you gonna handle that?
Yeah, usually they're not going to have any kind of skills. See, that's the engineer's issue, right? So, see,
Okay.
if we do, we have to discuss with our engineers and then ask
Yeah.
them, guys,
Yeah.
if you want more resources, please tell me. Okay, because we cannot like give too much pressure to them, right? So, if
Yeah.
I have like maybe 6 to 7 engineers in my team, and
Mm-hmm.
if you feel like they are overwhelmed, and then they cannot handle, and we
Mm-hmm.
have a brand new AI project that's coming, do you think they'll be able to handle? No, they are
Yeah.
not going to do it. You cannot, so as that's also your responsibility. You cannot like pressure them to do things. They are going to get
Mm.
irritated and all. If they
Yeah.
can manage, yes. if they are able to manage. So you have to discuss that. You need to have an honest conversation with your engineers. And so if you have a manager who is very understanding, then this is easy. You can actually tell to your manager, like, I don't think they'll be able to do this. We need additional contractors.
Okay. That is
And
where the contractors will.
contractors, yeah, that's when, like, we are going to hire a couple of contractors for like next 6 months, and then make sure they're going to help our lead engineers, right?
Yeah.
But usually the manager, if you have funding,
Mm-hmm.
managers are like fine to hire the contractors.
Okay. I
But
got
if the funding itself is a problem, I think nobody. That's why I'm saying you need, while during this initial funding process, make
Mhm.
sure you have some extra money. If our engineers need help, then we can
Mhm.
hire a contractor.
So if your project is like already allocated and the team is working on, and if you get the new requirements, how will you handle that?
So if there is scope creep, or like there is increase in scope, then
Mhm.
usually, like, we have to talk with the engineers and see, like, if this is a simple
Mhm.
thing that can be added to the existing requirements, or this needs an additional LOE.
Okay.
If, let's say, like, it's a brand new request and it needs, like, again, so the same process only you will do.
Mm-hmm.
If they
Again,
can,
you need to
yeah, if they can
validate.
accommodate within the initial request, then that's fine. But if the engineers think like, no, this is going to take another like 13 points, 20 points, then
Mhm.
again you will do the same thing, calculate the LOE and give it to the business owners. Then they are understanding only, because it's a new requirement, right? They are
Yeah.
not going to fight with you. When
Yeah.
will they fight? If you miss a requirement and tell them, that's when they're going to fight with you.
Okay.
Like, while gathering requirements, if you miss something and they think it's already in scope and you think it's a missed requirement, that's when they are ready to fight with you. That will happen in UAT.
Okay.
So in UAT, right, they will only during UAT testing, they'll come to know that, like, for that, okay, I thought this is being done, and then you are like, no, I don't know, you never gave me that requirement.
Yeah.
That will happen in UAT. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you how to handle conflicts and all. That's a different
Yeah,
question.
usually in the project where I worked, we will give prototype, and like a stakeholder will accept it. Then we will start the process. So prototyping will help. But here nowadays, like how it is going, I just want to know.
No, see, but yours was a gaming project.
Yeah.
So then in that project, prototype will help,
Okay.
because it's gaming, right? So
True.
visually you're showing something, and
True.
then,
True.
but that will not, prototyping is not for every single project, I would say.
Okay.
But for gaming, of course, yes.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
these mobile applications, UI kind of applications and all, we can draw something in Balsamic, or we can show that. But there are
Then
some
how will we get a client confirmation, like stakeholder confirmation? This is what I'm looking for, like when we are preparing the document.
yeah, that's a tricky question. If something let's say that's a backend, like some kind of system,
Uh-huh.
only in UAT you can show them.
Yeah, then that will be like whatever the work they have done at last, only the UAT will come, right?
Yeah, that's why we want to go, like, from a sprint basis, right? That's the
Yeah.
difference between
Okay,
waterfall
in
and,
2 weeks we will come to
in
know,
two
like
weeks we will come to
that,
know. You're not
yeah,
going to
yeah,
wait like
whether we are
2 months.
going in a right path or not, so that like that won't affect complete
Correct.
project.
That's
Okay.
why people are going towards agile. We are not going
Oh yeah,
towards waterfall.
that's a good thing. Yeah. Okay. Now I
In
got
2 weeks, they are going to say, what is this crap? And then you're going to start over again. That's all.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. It helped me a lot. Thank you.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
I want to know, like, how do you identify the stakeholders, like the ways to identify the stakeholders?
How do you identify stakeholders?
Yeah, like, mm,
Okay.
like,
So you will have, usually, right, you will have like list of names that is given by your project manager, or someone who submitted your Jira request, like intake request, someone would have submitted, right?
yeah,
So that person will be your primary contact, and that person has to tell you who are the stakeholders. So that's not a problem. Who are the stakeholders, you can find out. But who is going to give you the sign off, right? UAT sign off. He will be your top stakeholder, who is going to test everything and provide sign off.
okay,
He is your primary stakeholder.
yeah, okay, ma'am.
Okay. So you will get, let's say you're getting only one name, you can ask that person, how many people will be coming to calls? Can I give their list of their names and everything? But once, like the very first or second call, you will know. who's giving you proper requirements, but you can ask them, can you tell me who will do the UAT testing and provide sign off on behalf of the entire team? And they'll give you a particular name. That person, right, will be your primary stakeholder.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Because you cannot ask everyone to test.
Yeah.
Okay, so there'll be few people who will join only first few calls and then they're no longer required. But there'll be some few people who will be like throughout the project, right? You have to be constantly in touch with them for gathering requirements during SIT testing. If developer any questions, you're going to ask, and then UAT, you need to like work with that particular business owner. Production deployment also, production issue also. That person will be your primary contact, right? He is your
Mm-hmm.
primary stakeholder.
And also like in regard to the previous question, so until 2 weeks, if we have any issues that can't we avoid, like, so like for every requirement can we do like wireframes, or is it like that does work in the real time, or how does that work, ma'am?
Wireframes. Have you drawn wireframes? It takes
No, actually I don't have any experience, so I have like a lot of confusion.
wireframes takes hours for you to draw something.
Okay, so
So
whatever the requirement, we just give it in the Jira stories, and once it's done, and then if it comes to the UAT testing only, we'll know like whether it is like correct or not.
see, wireframes is nothing but it's mostly for UI projects. Like I'll show you an example how wireframes work, so you understand like why we are drawing wireframes and all. Okay, so what is this? Can you just seeing the picture? What do you think?
Um, It's like a front end, like how does that look?
Mm. So this is mobile application, right?
Mm.
Okay, and then this is how this is, and you're going to tell this the developer is going to code and bring the same thing in his dev environment,
Mm.
right? But so you're just drawing something visually using balsamic and giving to your developer for
Yeah,
development activities. Okay, so when should you do this one?
it's only works like on the front, like how does that look?
Yeah, so who's going to give you
For you,
requirements on all this, and who's going to confirm yes, this is how it needs to look like?
Business owners.
Business owners, right? So
Mm.
this is in requirement gathering phase you're going to draw.
Mm.
Okay, if someone is saying like, yes, Shruti, give me a page for billing and plans, and this is where the company logo should look like. This is how, what are the three plans that needs to showcase, and then this is so you need to draw this and then tell to the business owners, review with the business owners. They once they give sign off, then this is a final thing, and you're going to tell it to
Mm.
the developer, develop like this. That's all.
Yes.
So wireframes is like during, especially with UI, like user
Yeah.
interface, right? That for
Mm.
those projects only you can use wireframes, not any like backend systems and all. Like
Yeah, it does not work for
it's
the
not,
back.
yeah. Like for example, gaming, like how Lakshmi is saying, like gaming projects, something mobile applications, or something like web
Mm.
portal, member portal. For this chatbot and all, we can use.
So how does for backend applications, like how does we do, ma'am?
We don't draw all these wireframes like
Mm.
for backend and all. It's
Backend.
mostly
Mm.
process oriented, data process, flow diagrams, flow charts, swim lane diagrams, BPMN diagrams.
Okay.
So
mostly everything will go with Jira and Confluence only, right? Most of the work will go like that, or
yeah,
with
Jira is for
tools.
writing all the user
Yeah,
stories and
Yes.
epics and defects. Confluence is for all this kind of documentation,
documentation. Yeah.
diagrams and everything. You can do it in Confluence. In Confluence, and the backend has integration with Glyphy diagrams, MS Visio, like all these different tools. So you
Mhm.
can draw there and directly create a page in Confluence and
Yeah.
share it with your team.
And can you share one or two like resume this one in the chat if you have time, Pratik?
Resume,
Yeah.
BA resume.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, let me I have resumes, but it contains some personal contacts, and I have to remove that. And then um, I think you have sent your resume, right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to schedule a call with you on
Yeah.
Monday.
Sure.
So can I share with that time?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So you should. Yeah. Someone was about to talk.
Yeah, Pradeep, Purushottam this side. I have also shared that snippet of app and my resume, Pradeep, 2 days back.
Yeah. I'm replying one by one. Give me some time. By end of today, I will reply when about the calls.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, but I will schedule you. Don't worry. By next week, I will make sure like everybody who has sent your resume, right? You are having a separate session. Uh, okay, so I mean, I think we need to like for this question is not done, so we need to make sure this is also covered on Monday. But do you have any questions on budgeting or lead BA responsibilities, and then how to calculate LOE and then get approved?
Pradeepa, one question.
Hmm.
So, what happens if the budget, even after being carefully giving estimates and all, if the budget goes beyond whatever we have estimated?
Yeah,
Uh,
so if they have funding, they will approve. If they feel they cannot make it, then usually they don't go. But see, it depends upon the business need, right? If business wants to do it, they will get funding from leadership. If it's something that is mandatory, something that is has to be done, then
oh,
usually like they will be like okay. But if they feel like this can be done next year, we can wait, then usually that project is like on hold. So that's why you see, right? They will do interview and everything. And then before you get hired, the project will go on hold. Do you know why?
because of budget issues?
Yeah, budget issue. Like they will calculate and then they feel like, okay, and
Yeah,
I don't think so. This is going to work out. Then that project will go on hold. That is
because
happening frequently right now. The people are
uh,
getting interviewed and then like before even they join, the project is on hold.
okay, because I thought it has to be very ideal, and otherwise business owners will be very difficult to get another approval. So we have to be very accurate with the estimate, and you never know like how real life situation would be. There could be some constraints and technical challenges because of which the budget is getting increased.
Yeah, see, this is not, I wouldn't say this is a picture perfect LOE. Okay, because you're going to add 30% buffer. We never know because this is like after a couple of calls, you are doing the t shirt size, right? This is not an exact LOE. It can go higher, it can go lower. We never know. But if it's going higher, you need to justify that. Why it's going higher? Why, what is not covered in your initial request? Now, what are you covering? What kind of development? That's even more issue. That's why the first LOE that you're going to submit, please add your points extra.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Okay. Any other
Yeah,
questions?
I have a question. So, along with this budgeting, I also have heard that forecasting thing in interviews. So, is that the same thing or different?
Forecasting is a little bit different. I think you got one question, right, Sangeeta, in your
Yeah,
interview about forecasting. So, did
yeah,
they
yeah.
ask
That's
about
why I'm asking.
budgeting? What did you answer?
They were asking about budgeting, so I said that our Scrum Master and Project Manager handle that. I presented in that meeting. I
That's
just
all
said
you
like
know.
that.
So, oh my God. Then what did he say?
He didn't say much.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, you were there in that meeting. You didn't say anything about LOEs, nothing like how to calculate. So, you didn't know that.
Uh, I said that we have a sheet where we are putting our hours and everything. So I managed somehow.
But he was not convinced.
Yeah, yeah. He was not convinced.
Yeah, so these things, right? ChatGPT won't give. Someone who has really like worked as a lead BA only will know, but that's fine. Okay, but they are in India. They are also asking. You're from Hyderabad, right? So in India also they are asking about budgeting, for BAs.
Yeah, generally I have participated in that meeting, but we have team lead and project manager usually handle those kind of things with the
Mm,
scrum master and everyone.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. And yeah, I'll tell you about what is forecasting, right? So here, you forecasting means you're going to understand, like for example, for the entire this particular project like how are we going to um, how are we going to do? Okay, this is mostly like, I would say here in on-site, it's a BA thing only, but in offshore, usually managers are doing. So what we are going to see is like how are we going to develop a product, how long it's going to take, and then um, like for example, if there are any risk management. So mostly like when it comes to forecasting, right, it comes to risk management. So budgeting is one thing. So optimized planning, like that you are doing as a BA, you will plan everything from starting to scratch. Budgeting, I've told you how to do it. Now there is something called as risk management. So what do you think, what are the risks that is associated when you have a project, when you have a brand new project like AI project and all? What are the different risks?
Technical knowledge, developers not having technical knowledge.
Yes. So first of all, nobody knows, right, what needs to be done for those kind of project. Then so you have to identify the correct resources. That is a risk. And then
And after getting the team, like whatever the expected time versus analyzed time versus exceeding time.
correct. So we may think that this project maybe this is called as this short-term forecasting, medium-term forecasting, long-term forecasting. Short-term goals, like how long it's going to take. And then so phase one, phase two, phase three approaches, right? That's where like short term, phase one, what are the capabilities that needs to be achieved? Then phase two, what are the capabilities that needs to be achieved for the next like 1 year? Then phase three, what needs to be achieved on the second year? So this forecasting, usually when we have a very big massive project and that cannot be done within less than 6 months, that's when we have this forecasting. So we go by phase one, phase two, phase three approach. So Sangeeta, what you have to tell is short-term forecasting is something which can be achieved in 4 to 5 months. Okay, so what you will be doing is you will identify how many user stories that needs can be achieved in that 4 to 5 months. What are the dependencies, and then how much budgeting is going to be involved. That is phase one approach. Then for the next 1 year, after we go live, then we have one more year, that is like mid-level forecasting. So phase two approaches, what are the capabilities that we are going to achieve in phase two? So an example is like usually in US, we will target only like one market. So if we something rolling out something in North Carolina, so that's like a short-term forecasting. In 6 months, we will target only North Carolina, and we will launch it there. Once we get the feedback, then we can launch for another 10 states. And then phase three, we are launching throughout the US. So phase one, only North Carolina. Phase two, 10 different states. And phase three approaches throughout US. By the time we will know what are the production defects we are going to have, how are we going to fix it. So we'll have that stability. So long-term forecasting means that's like longer than 2 years. Okay, so you can say phase one, phase two, phase three approaches. As a BA, what we are going to do is we will like plan on phase one, what are the goals and how many resources we need, what are the capabilities that we are going to go live. Then phase two, what are the market trends, what are the upgrades. So in phase two, the scope also can change because based upon the phase one, right? Now business owners think like, okay, we don't want those requirements, please cut it down, and then they're giving you new requirements that will be for phase two. So mostly if they ask about do you know forecasting, first is like planning, budgeting, and risk management. When it comes to risk, number one is like for phase one, what happens on a compliance perspective. So for example, this AI chatbot options, right? I am giving my member ID, my date of birth, and my details to a chatbot, and then chatbot is identifying me as a genuine member, okay, and giving my details. But to what level detail like that chatbot can give me? What if I'm not the member and someone has stolen my member ID, my date of birth, and then it's asking for more details? Should chatbot reply? To what level? Yes. So that is from a compliance perspective. You need to check with compliance team, like how much to what level the chatbot can reply. Should it give all the details about that case? Should it tell like diagnosis code, for example, yes, your authorization request was approved or denied. Only it should stop with that much, or it should give like, if member is asking about, tell me for what diagnosis this authorization was submitted. Should it reply that question? No, because as a member, you would be already aware of what was the diagnosis, right? Why did you go to the doctor and what kind of treatment that you want? So you should be already aware of it. Why are you asking me that question? So is the chatbot intelligent enough to say that, no, I'm not supposed to answer that question. For further more questions, please log into a member portal using your valid username, password, and check what is this ICD code or diagnosis or whatever. So mm, so number one in the US is like, from a compliance perspective, how much the AI should answer. We are not leaking any like sensitive data to someone who's like using all this, because there's a risk, right? I'm developing something and through an AI, anybody can using my member ID and date of birth, and they can steal my information. So we don't want that to happen. So we need to be very protective of all this like PHI stuff, data leakage, and someone misusing our information. So let's say like I'm giving you like an example here. Husband and wife are there. They are almost like in the process of getting divorced. But husband knows the wife's member ID and wants to like look up on a certain case, and they're already on divorce. So husband doesn't have no clue about, they cannot log into the member portal. He doesn't have the username and password for the wife. I'm just giving a scenario here. So he can use that chatbot, and he knows the wife's member ID and date of birth, and get that prior authorization detail. Okay, but is it wrong? It is wrong according to US law. According to the compliance perspective, it's against HIPAA. It's a violation that is being done, right? Because she has not given anything like a designee preference or anything like this person can, that you can, health insurance can give my details, my sensitive information to my spouse, like that. She has not given any consent on it. Okay, but now using this chatbot option, now that spouse is trying to get the information. Is it a out of compliance issue? Yes. Is it a HIPAA violation? Yes. Is it a PHI violation? Yes. So how are you as an IT team, how are you going to handle that? We can develop any product, but from a compliance perspective, there are so many risks associated when you're like generating, developing some AI, and it's answering. Someone is giving the member ID and it's giving all the data for that particular user. It's against compliance, right? So from a risk management also, you need to tell to the business owner, like, I see whatever you're asking, it can be done in production, but you need to check like how much we can share with the member using that chatbot option. If they're asking so much sensitive information, then they have to log into the member portal, and they themselves have to review, or they can call the customer care. That's when like you have to really connect with the human being, a live agent, and talk to them, right? So when you develop a software project, what are the risks associated? You need to define that risk, compliance risk, violation risk, that country's laws, all that will come under risk management. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that is a risk. So I think we are done for the day. So I'll please join on Monday at 2 when we can continue. Okay. Happy weekend. Thank you guys for joining.
Hello, ma.
Thanks, Pradeepa.
Hi.
This is Fatima. I just joined the class now. I'm very busy with work and all of that, so, but I don't go through the videos after you upload it on YouTube. So yesterday I'm unable to join yesterday, and now I'm just joining because of work. But I have a question, ma. Which is if one, as a beginner, if you are to land a job, or like, do you need any like BSc or maybe any master, normal academic degree? Like, do I need anyone, or is it just professional, or I can just take a professional course, then maybe can one land the job with a professional course, not with academic qualifications?
No, usually you require a bachelor's.
Mm.
Yeah. Usually at least you need one bachelor degree.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. And but you are in Egypt, right? You can check there if they require only a high school diploma and then maybe some kind of certifications. You check there. But in the US, right, you need at least a bachelor degree.
What I'm planning to do is that I'm just trying to like use this to maybe if I can get a remote job. Then I don't know if
No, I don't think from you can get a remote job. Like you're from US, you're talking, or any kind of country, you're going to get a remote job.
any kind.
Yeah. No, usually like we have strict regulations here in the US for remote jobs. So it's through a contracted vendor, and then it has some kind of protocols and how people can work remotely on offshore. It's usually through a preferred vendor. I don't think you'll be directly hired and all that. US has like some kind of legal requirements if you're going to work from offshore.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Thank you.
Very much.
Bye.
Yes.